Good morning, everyone. This is a special video discussion, very brief one, for Sunday, February 10th, ahead of the storm that's coming up for tomorrow night on through Tuesday. So I've issued a impact map. This is the first one for the public. Hopefully it stays the same. I've been trying to, for the most part, keep updates or keep changes to the forecast down to one or two this year. It's been kind of my goal, and so far so good. So here's the basic idea here with this forecast. First of all, as you can see, heaviest snowfall over your interior, 4 to 8 inches of snow, up to 4/10 of an inch of ice as you move closer to the coast. Again, as you head to the south of Pennsylvania towards around Maryland, you're talking about 1 to 4 inches of snow, trace to 1/10 of ice, 3 to 6 inches in the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area, on up to Connecticut with up to 1/3 of an inch of ice, and then 1 to 3 inches as you go right along the coast, but up to 1/10 of an inch of ice. Now, here's the basic idea with this forecast. As a meteorologist, you never want to underplay ice. You kind of want to play it safe in that respect. And one of the things that has me concerned with the forecast in terms of the lower levels of the atmosphere is that we're going to have snow from a weaker system on Monday morning. Okay, so it's going to keep cloud cover in there. You have cold air transport building in, and you had a little bit of light snow. So your boundary layer, even over southern New Jersey and southern Pennsylvania, is going to be a little bit colder to start off with. Then you're going to have what's called warm air transport. Now, there is no doubt that the snow will change over to rain. The question mark in the forecast simply comes down to how fast does that process go. So for the interior, it's going to be a longer process. They will change over to a mix and then eventually to rain. But the question is, how heavy will that snow be at the initial start? So thus the 4 to 8 inches. What we're going to be looking for is what we call very strong isotropic lifting. What in the previous storms, we talked about phonogenesis, something of that respect. So there's going to be that heavy burst. And then there's a question of how long does that heavy burst of snow transition over to sleet and freezing rain. And then we play a very fine line as temperatures rise to the mid-30s. How long does that temperature stay between 30 and 32 and then 33 to 34? Once you get 33, 34, it's just a chilly, raw, uncomfortable, annoying rainfall. But it's not icing. So that's what we're going to be watching out for very, very carefully in this period. And it's basically the same rule throughout the rest of the forecast area. The question simply comes down to how long does that transition take. So thus you get kind of these wide ranges in snowfall potential, 1 to 3 inches, 3 to 6 inches. All of these areas could very easily fall on the low end, and what you get is a stronger push of warm air. But unlike the last storm where you started off dry and you really didn't have anything to insulate that cold air to put up a fight, this time you do. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of what happened in November, where we had that snowfall in the morning and it lingered a little bit more than what was expected, and it altered the lower part of the atmosphere to be slightly colder. So I'm kind of playing against that idea and keeping an eye on that. So I'd rather start a little high and then work my way down and reduce down than try to play catch up going up and putting people in danger because they think, oh, it just be an inch, not that big of a deal. And then before you know, you got 4 or 5 inches of snow on the ground and people are driving in that. So certainly it's a very, very tricky forecast. The worst part of it, of course, is going to be in the Tuesday morning rush hour. Between Monday evening and Tuesday morning, it's just going to be spitting light snow. Okay, not very organized. Then as we get to just about the time of the Tuesday morning rush hour, you're going to get more of an organization at bursts of moderate to heavy snowfall. And that's going to work northward. Again, your lower snowfall totals down here because that changeover to rain is going to be really fast because you're going to have easterly winds and just drive the warm air in. However, as you push a little bit further inland, well, it's going to take a little bit longer to warm that atmosphere. So there's that potential for that burst of maybe 3, 4 inches of snow in the New York City and Philadelphia metro before you change over to sleet and freezing rain and finally rain. And then, of course, over the interior, that's where it's going to take the longest, and that's where I think we're going to see that low-level cold air put up the bulk of the fight. This 8 inches is based on the potential for some strong mesoscale banding, especially as we start to get to that point of transitioning over to sleet and freezing rain. But again, the faster that transition, the lower the snowfall total. So that is the forecast overall that I am looking for. Of course, this is the first call, so adjustments will be made, and we will make them as quickly as possible based on the data that comes in. Have a wonderful day, and as always, stay safe out there.